All praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Ha Ruka Kodash. Double honors to our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone well. And Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom. Wa Abba Babal. Alright, I'm going to show you that Redacted is a racist show. Alright, the hosts are racist Edomites.
In Hayward, California. She left school in the 3rd grade in order to work the fields. So, maybe this community was not a victim of over-policing and mass incarceration, but for sure, zoning, injustices and discrimination in health. A lot of these things happened to my family as well. Is it my family now that should pay for something that we did not perpetuate and also were victims of?
So she tried to say that her dad is Italian and her mother is Spanish, and that they don't deserve to pay for slavery, all right, when they benefit from slavery.
I'm confused about that. And who qualifies then as a Black resident? Can you move there now? Because again, it does not have very much to do with slavery at all. Here's how they decide who qualifies. It's determined that any descendant of an enslaved African American or of a free Black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century should be entitled to reparations. If legislation is passed for the payments, the committee suggested that a state agency be created to process these claims and make payments, with elderly Black residents being the priority. And this would be about 1.8 million people in California identifying as Black or African American. Now, again, this relevant question we had from this super chat: why, when California was not a slave-owning state, and it says that the preliminary report published last year highlighted how enslaved Black people were sent to California during the gold rush era. And then in the 1950s and 60s, racially restrictive covenants and redlining segregated them in many of California's largest cities. Again, I ask you, that happened to Asians that worked in the gold mines as well. That happened to Hispanics. There are a lot of minority groups in California.
The Asians who built the Transcontinental Railroad.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We should also point out that the 40 acres and a mule thing, which he was stating as if that actually happened, it didn't actually happen. Like, the order, it was a field order by a general, and then Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. It would never actually went into effect. It wasn't like then suddenly thousands upon thousands of slaves had land and 40 acres and a mule, and it was like a big... No, it was rescinded. It would never actually happened. So it was the idea of it.
Right.
Just to be clear about that for that guy.
Now, I think I've made this point before that, let's say that this wealth is then dumped on this population only in California. My point that I've made before from a great book that I highly recommend called Entrusted is that most generational wealth just does not pass down. This is a problem that it's either because of wealthy parents don't, teach financial education, or neither do schools.
And see, they're showing you their hate by redirecting, all right? Redirecting your attention to why the so-called Negro shouldn't get reparations.
While slavery by the West did hold several groups back from obtaining wealth, groups that have wealth don't keep it for more than 1 to 2 generations.
Then what about Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man? He's had wealth, right? His family, his bloodline has held the wealth of the world for many generations now.
So will this actually help to raise anybody's children's standard of life? I don't know. There is no proof of that. There's no proof that, you need to prove that wealth passes down, and it just doesn't. Even the Vanderbilts were poor within 2 generations at their peak. Now, my other lingering concerns are like this one I've brought up before when we spoke about the Dutch slave trade. Whose is it to forgive? Is it mine to forgive the pain of my ancestors any more than it is mine to pay for the sins of my ancestors? You can't have it both ways.
You're going to pay, and you're going to be sorry for your sins of your ancestors, all right? Tells you in Isaiah 14, dealing with the Edomite, the so-called white man. 21. All right, let me get verse 1. Let's see. Verse 1, for Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, which our land is Israel, which you have bastards in our land right now. And the strangers, which are Israelites, scattered throughout the world, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Now, let me get 21. Prepare slaughter for his sons. For whose sons? Edom, the so-called white man. For his children, for his sons and daughters and grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, for the iniquity, the immoral behavior of their fathers. So this woman is asking, who has to pay for it? You have to pay for it. Because you are them. You were the woman in the past. You are the reincarnation of your great-great-grandparents. All right? It says that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Because look at the world today. So when the Lord destroys this place, he don't want Esau growing to be a great nation again. He's going to fucking have us break them down, beat the shit out of them for 1,000 years, and then after that 1,000 years, they're going to be made extinct. Male, female, and child. All right? It says that they do not rise, so they do not grow, nor possess the land. The Lord don't want them to possess nothing, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Because look at the state of the earth now. They're the ones ruling now. It says, for I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name. What name? Edom. The remnant of what? Edom. And son, the seed, the man holds the seed. And nephew, saith Yahweh. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith Yahweh of hosts. So Yahweh of hosts, all right, host means armies. He's the one that's going to destroy Esau, all right? You got to pay him back because you slaughtered his children. It says in, I'll go to the bottom. It says, look, Ezekiel 35 verse 14, thus saith the supreme power Yahweh, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. See, why? Because when this devil goes down, the whole earth is going to rejoice. Isaiah 14. It says, verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, the so-called white man, which rules the world in wickedness, he who ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Meaning nobody's going to help you. When we get you in slavery, no nation is going to come to stand, to protect you. Every nation is going to be trying to get you. It says, the whole earth is at rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fowler is come up against us. All right? So even the earth is going to rejoice when the so-called white man, the red devil, is taken out of power and made extinct.
Is it something that will repair a pain in you because of generations past? Is that...
And how will we repair that pain? It tells you in Revelation 13:10. And see, this is an insult actually to Jake. They're saying that they're going to give Jake reparations, but they're about to kill the dollar. They're about to remove the dollar out of circulation, and everybody's going to have to go to that CBDC, and it's only going to be allowed 1,000 CBDCs at the most, they say. They said that there'll be no more millionaires. See, so they're bullshitting you. They're mocking Jake to his face. And the supreme power, Yahweh, and his son, Yahweh Shai, will not be mocked. He's going to punish these people for it. Revelation 13:10. And that's also why it says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Jake lacks knowledge growing up in these fucking public education, prison, school to prison programs. And they don't know about money. They don't know about shit. All right, real money is an asset, like land where you're able to grow food, build a house, do something with it. They want to give you fucking worthless fiat dollars that they're about to take out of circulation, And that's why when we deal with them, when we get them in slavery, they're not going to be showing no mercy, nothing. They're not going to be showing any mercy. It says in Revelation 13:10, he that leadeth into captivity, her father led us into captivity. He had part in that. Even her husband, right? He's an Edomite. So they're children of slave owners. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So now you will go into captivity because you are the reincarnation of your forefathers. It says, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. How did your fathers get this land? Did they peacefully take it? No, they slaughtered my people, the Israelites. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So we just have to wait and believe that Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai will avenge us on these devils, the so-called white men.
Is that yours to say, like, I cashed the check, it's all good now? Does that make it all good?
I just read it. Fuck your reparations. Fuck your fiat dollar. All right, we want your flesh. We want you in slavery under us. We want to break your families up. We want to carry out Psalms 147, 7, 8, and 9. Psalms 147. Salaki, I think it's 5 actually. Yep. Yeah, 137. Psalms 137, 7, 8, and 9. Remember, O Yahweh, the sons of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, America, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. See, because you owe for the sins that you did against us even in the past. All right? Before you were Greeks and before you were Romans. Before you were so-called Caucasians. Before you were so-called white Christians. All right? You were under all kinds of lies, because you always lie about who you are. You call yourself these lying names to hide who you are because you're a fucking fugitive, you red devils. But you're going to pay back everything you did. Every drop of blood you spilt, your blood will be spilt for it.
It all good.
Now, I'm going to show you another video that they just put up today where they're talking about what happened with Hitler and his people and how we need to remember that. But they're saying forget and forgive for slavery, but they don't want you to forget what Hitler did. When he was actually, we know what the real story is on it, but I don't want this video getting cut. But, he was the same people that they claim he was killing. When you look up typhus, all right, typhus comes from lice. When they put themselves in our land claiming to be us, these counterfeit bastards that are Edomites, all right, the Lord plagued them with lice. That's why they were skinny, because they had typhus. And this is why they were in concentration camps getting gas, because he was trying to kill the fucking lice. All right, but these red devils, fork-tongued devils, all right, lie to the world and tell you, remember. But when it comes to slavery, don't remember. Shame on you for remembering. All right, and this is why these devils have to get punished, man. And when they get punished, there will be no fucking mercy shown, man. None. All right? None. These motherfuckers ain't going to get a moment of rest. Even on the Sabbath, they're going to be licking their wounds from the week. And then they're going to go into the Sabbath hoping it never ends, only to be shortened, because in their time it's going to be going fast, but for us it's going to be going slow. And they're going to suffer, man. We're going to rejoice. We're going to celebrate at their suffering just like they did in their history to us and are still doing to us.
To Kiev, soldiers who fought Nazism could barely believe the news. My dad ended up going to Nuremberg right after the war and having to secure all of those fields and all of the parade grounds where Hitler was marching right through Nuremberg. My dad literally took over an SS barracks, slept in the beds of former Nazis. Like, we're here now. We're here now. Crazy times. The greatest evil in the world that we had ever seen was now defeated in Europe. And they all had surrendered because they were destroyed. They were surrounded, crushed after 6 long years. And news finally started to grow. The Germans had built massive camps where day after day, hour after hour, women, children, men were brought in by rail car. Systemically, told that they were being given new jobs, a better life. We're getting you out of the ghetto. Where you are here, you're in a much better place now. Oh, thank God. We're glad we're here. Those are the sounds of what people said as they arrived on these rail cars. Oh, good, we're in a better place. Oh, that's good, thank you. Nazis even told them, hey, leave your luggage here on this ramp. Someone will take it for you.
What did the so-called white man do to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian? See? They weren't happy talking about slavery, but when it comes to the so-called white man and what he's done and what they suffered, they want you to remember. They glorify it. But when it comes to the so-called black man crying about slavery, they tell you to shut up and fucking be glad you got a fucking job. That's why you got fucking 2/3 in America that are praying to the so-called white man.
Don't worry about it. We just got to get you processed and get you into the shower, get you a nice shower, and then you'll be reunited with your clothes. We'll give you some brain.
And they did that to the Northern Kingdom.
At El Paso daily will undoubtedly bring
with weeding out immigrants they thought were unfit or disease carriers. And across the country, that process coincided with the stereotyping of Mexicans as inferior and unclean. Dozens of film titles included the word greaser, a derogatory term used to describe Mexicans. This racist sentiment was strong at the U.S.-Mexico border. El Paso's mayor, Tom Lee, had developed an obsession with cleanliness, and it defined his political platform.
this obsession with not only racial purity, but physical purity. He was going to literally clean up El Paso from all these bad elements. And by bad elements, he often meant racially bad elements.
One of Mayor Lee's biggest fears was a disease called typhus, spread by lice.
And why was he afraid of it? Because he was a so-called white man. Most likely Amalek, a big-nosed bastard with a small hat, counterfeit bastard. All right? Because they were being plagued with typhus, claiming to be us.
Under the pretense of sanitary betterment work, he helped lead a campaign to inspect every house in a predominantly Mexican neighborhood. If the inspectors found lice, occupants were forced to take vinegar and kerosene baths, have their heads shaved, and clothing burned. Hundreds of...
Where do you think Hitler got his ideas? You see?
Then you'll be reunited with your clothes. We'll give you some brand new clothing. Everything will be fine. What about my 5-year-old child? Don't worry. We'll send your 5-year-old child over there, and you'll be reunited later after you get a shower and process. Don't worry about it. But we know how that ended, right? Because...
See? We know how that ended, right? He wants you to remember what happened there with the lies that they teach, but they don't want you to know the truth about slavery, about the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian, which are the biblical Hebrew Israelites.
Those kids were never reunited with their parents, and then they were all gassed and killed. That's exactly what happened. Just walk into this shower over here, and you'll get some new clothes after you come out. But of course, they never came out. So I can only imagine, we can't imagine, but can you imagine living during this time period? Can you imagine living during this time when we had learned that this evil had been defeated? And for many people...
Now, who's that evil? The so-called white man. The red devil the Bible speaks of, which the hosts of Redacted The husband and the wife are red devils.
Of people around the world didn't even know the stories of the evil, the horror of all of this, in Poland specifically, but and not just Poland, but of course all over. It must have been an amazing time to live through. Like, we can look at it in 2023 with some different kind of glasses now, but imagine just trying to put yourself in that moment. It's kind of hard to.
See? Imagine, put yourself in that moment. Why don't you motherfucking put yourself in the moment of slavery, bitch? Because that's your future, motherfucker.